You believe in love. You believe in that story you were told since childhood, that somewhere out there is a person who will complete you, who will fill the emptiness you feel, who will save you from yourself. You grew up listening to songs, watching movies, reading stories that repeat the same promise. Find the right person, and everything will finally make sense. As if, on your own, you were nothing but an incomplete fragment of a human being. As if happiness were a matter of finding the missing half, the one, the soulmate the universe supposedly set aside just for you. What if I told you, looking you straight in the eye, that a large part of what you call love is nothing but fear, neediness, and the desire to possess, dressed up as poetry? One man dissected human love like few ever dared to, not with the romantic gaze of the love-struck poet, but with the cold scalpel of the philosopher who refused to accept beautiful lies. His name was Friedrich Nietzsche. Born in 1844 in Germany, he loved deeply and was brutally rejected. He fell in love with a brilliant woman, Lou Salome, who refused his proposal of marriage and chose his best friend instead. Nietzsche knew love not as a fairy tale, but as an open wound, as an abyss, as the most dangerous of all human illusions. And yet, or perhaps precisely because of that, he did not despise love. He wanted to purify it. He wanted to tear away all its lies, to discover whether anything true remained beneath so many masks. Because Nietzsche never destroyed for the mere pleasure of destroying. He shattered the false idols so that the true ones could finally appear. And few idols of humanity are as false, as worshipped, and as rarely questioned as our idea of love. Nietzsche wrote that there is always some madness in love, but that there is also always some reason in madness. For him, almost everything we call love is, in truth, a sophisticated form of selfishness. Greed that calls itself devotion, possession that calls itself care, fear of solitude disguised as eternal passion. We swipe through endless faces on our phones, convinced that the perfect match is just one more screen away, never asking what we are really chasing. Nietzsche invites us to do what almost no one has the courage to do, to look at our own love without the makeup of romanticism, and to ask with brutal honesty what is really hiding behind it. If you came to this video hoping someone will confirm your romantic illusions, we'll tell you that love is pure, simple, and selfless, that you only need to find the right person to be happy forever, close this video right now. There are thousands of channels ready to lull you with the same old lullabies. But if you suspect, in the silence of the night, that there is something about love that no one has had the courage to tell you, if you have ever loved and lost yourself, given everything and been discarded, confused need with feeling, then stay. Nietzsche has 7 dark truths about love. We are not here to feed your fantasy. We are here to teach you to love like a free person and not like a needy slave. Because the way you love may be the most honest portrait of who you truly are underneath. First truth. A large part of what you call love is nothing but fear of solitude. Think with brutal honesty. Why are you so afraid of being alone? Why do you accept crumbs of affection, relationships that diminish you, partners who do not respect you, just to avoid facing the emptiness of an empty bed? Nietzsche has a disturbing answer. What we often call love is not attraction to the other person, It is repulsion from our own solitude. You don't choose the person because they are extraordinary. You cling to them because you dread being alone with yourself. And a relationship built on that fear is not a meeting of souls. It is a pact between two needy people using each other as an anesthetic against the terror of existing alone.
Love that is born from fear is always possessive, jealous, suffocating. It does not want the good of the other. It wants the guarantee that the other will never leave. That is why so many relationships turn into prisons, because they were not built on the desire to be together, but on the dread of being apart. The first truth is painful. Until you learn to be okay alone, you will never truly love. You will only cling. And whoever clings does not love. They only drown. The drowning person does not choose the life raft because they admire it. They grab it because they are dying. And no relationship can bear for long the weight of being the only thing keeping someone from sinking. To you watching, if you have ever confused the fear of being alone with love, if you have ever clung to someone just to avoid facing the emptiness, write one single word in the comments: mirror. Whoever writes it knows exactly what I am talking about. And whoever reads it will understand they are not alone in that struggle. Second truth. Possessive love does not want the other. It wants to own the other. Here Nietzsche makes a distinction that cuts like a blade. There is an abyssal difference between loving a person and wanting to possess them. Most of what is called passionate love is, at its core, pure greed. We want the other person all to ourselves. We want to control, to monitor, to guarantee that no one else has them. We call this love, but it is only the instinct of ownership dressed up as romance. Nietzsche observed that lovers speak of giving, but act like conquerors. They say, "I love you," but what they often mean is, "You belong to me." Jealousy, which so many confuse with proof of love, is in truth proof of possession. You are not jealous of what you love freely. You are jealous of what you consider your property. True love, for Nietzsche, would be capable of desiring the freedom of the other, even if that freedom meant losing them. But almost no one loves like that. Almost everyone loves like someone holding a bird in a closed fist, with so much force that either the bird suffocates or it escapes through the first crack. And then they wonder, bewildered, why love always slips away from them, never understanding that it was their own closed fists that crushed it. The second truth demands an uncomfortable reflection. Ask yourself whether you love the person or whether you love what they do for you, whether you desire their growth or only their staying by your side. The line between loving and possessing is thin, and most people cross it without even noticing. The great test is simple and cruel. Would you be capable of wanting the other person's happiness, even if that happiness did not include you? Whoever sincerely says yes knows love. Whoever hesitates knows only possession. Third truth. Love that demands you make yourself smaller is not love. It is domestication. Notice something disturbing. How often, in the name of love, do people ask you to be less? Less ambitious, less intense, less free, less yourself. In the name of love, they demand that you abandon your dreams, smother your nature, shrink your soul to fit inside their expectations. Nietzsche saw in this one of the greatest perversions of human love. There are those who love you not for what you are, but for what they can turn you into. They want to mold you, correct you, domesticate you until you become predictable, controllable, harmless. That is not the love that elevates. It is the love that lowers, that clips the wings, that trades your greatness for their own security. The love worth having is the one that challenges you to be more, not less. The one that admires your strength instead of fearing it, that celebrates your growth instead of sabotaging it. Nietzsche believed that the noblest love is the one between two individuals who propel each other upward, and not two who drag each other down in the name of comfort. The third truth is a warning. Be suspicious of any love that needs your smallness in order to survive. Whoever truly loves you does not want a diminished version of you. They want your fullest, strongest, most complete version, even if that version is harder to control. Love that dims your light to feel brighter is not love. It is envy disguised as affection. And love that feels threatened by your growth reveals, in truth, the weakness of the one who loves. Fourth truth. Passion is an intoxication, and no intoxication lasts forever. We confuse love with the chemical storm of the first months. That euphoria, that obsession, that inability to think about anything else. We believe that this is love in its pure state, and when that intensity inevitably fades, we conclude that love is over. Nietzsche understood passion as a form of intoxication. A magnificent drunkenness, yes, but passing by nature. To expect the passion of the first days to last a lifetime is like expecting to stay drunk forever on the first glass. Nature was not built to sustain that frenzy indefinitely, because no organism could survive such continuous intensity. The fatal mistake is to believe that when the intoxication fades, nothing remains. For Nietzsche, that is exactly where the interesting question begins. What exists between two people when the chemistry cools? If nothing remains, it was only desire. But if admiration remains, complicity, deep friendship, the will to build, then perhaps something rarer and more valuable than passion could ever be was being born there. The fourth truth liberates. Stop chasing eternal intoxication. The end of consuming passion is not the end of love. It is the moment of truth, where you discover whether you built a bonfire or only struck a match. The match burns intensely and goes out in seconds. The bonfire demands patience to be built, wood to be fed, but it warms the whole night through. Most people get addicted to matches, and so they spend their lives jumping from flame to flame, never knowing the steady warmth of something built to last. Fifth truth. Whoever does not love themselves poisons everything they touch. This truth is the sharpest of all. Think about it calmly. You try to love the other person, but how can you give what you do not possess? Whoever despises themselves, who lives at war with themselves, who carries an inner emptiness that nothing fills, brings that poison into every relationship they build. Nietzsche understood that love of oneself, not vain narcissism, but deep respect for one's own existence, is the foundation of any healthy love for others. Whoever does not love themselves seeks in the other a validation the other can never give. They demand that the partner fill a hole only they themselves can fill. And when the other inevitably fails at that impossible mission, comes the resentment, the blame, the disappointment. The needy turn love into dependence. The insecure turn love into surveillance. Those who hate themselves turn love into a battlefield. In all these cases, the root of the problem is not in the relationship. It is in the broken relationship the person has with themselves. The fifth truth is a call. Before you go looking for someone to love, learn to stand your own company. Build a self worth loving, because only those who are full can overflow. Those who are empty only drain. Think of a cup. It can only offer water to another if it is full. Two empty cups, leaning against each other, both stay equally dry. To those who have already understood that they must make peace with themselves before loving another, leave one word in the comments: root.
Let those who still search in the other for their own salvation see that the path begins within. Because no one can build a solid house on broken foundations, and no one can offer peace to another while waging war inside themselves. Sixth truth. True love is not finding the perfect person. It is a constant creation. The whole romantic culture taught you to search for the soulmate, the perfect half, the destined one. As if love were a hidden treasure you only need to find, and from then on, everything happens by itself, effortlessly, magically. Nietzsche despised that laziness disguised as romanticism. For him, love that lasts is not found, it is built. It is a work of art that two individuals sculpt together day after day with will, discipline, and conscious choice. It is not destiny that keeps two people together. It is the decision, renewed every morning, to keep building something in common. What we call the perfect person does not exist, waiting to be discovered. What exists are two imperfect people who decide, with their eyes open, to turn their union into something magnificent. Love, in this view, stops being a noun, something you have or don't have, and becomes a verb, something you do, that you practice, that you exercise continuously. The sixth truth demands maturity. Stop waiting for the perfect person and start becoming the person capable of building something perfect with another willing soul. Love is not luck. It is work. And like every masterpiece, it demands labor, talent, and the courage to keep going even when it is hard. Every love has its winters. The difference between those that last and those that break is not the absence of difficulties, but the willingness to walk through them together. People give up on relationships at the first frost, thinking the cold is proof they chose wrong. But the cold comes for everyone. What matters is who stays to build the fire. Seventh and final truth. The highest love is the one between two who do not need each other, but choose each other. Here Nietzsche dissolves the greatest confusion of all. People believe the peak of love is to desperately need the other, to be unable to live without them, to feel that they would die if the other left. But Nietzsche saw in this not the peak of love, but the peak of weakness. Needing the other to survive is not love. It is dependence dressed up as romance. The noblest love, for Nietzsche, is the one between two complete individuals, two beings already whole on their own, who, precisely because of that, can choose each other freely. They are not together because they cannot be alone. They are together because, being perfectly able to live well apart, they choose to share life with each other.
That is the love of the heights, not the union of two needs, but the alliance of two fullnesses. When you do not need the other to complete you, your love stops being a cry for help and becomes a gift.
You do not love because you are afraid of being alone. You love because you chose, among all the possibilities, to share your journey with that specific person. And there is no more powerful declaration than this: I would be fine without you, but I choose you anyway. The needy person says, I need you, and it sounds romantic, but it is a chain. The free person says, I choose you, and that is the closest thing to freedom two people can offer each other. The seventh truth is the most liberating of all. Become whole before you go looking for your other half, because the highest love does not happen between two halves that complete each other, but between two wholes that decide to dance together. When you don't need anyone to be happy, you are finally ready to love without suffocating, without demanding, without imprisoning. We have reached the end of our journey through the shadows of love. 7 dark truths from Nietzsche. Let us recap. First, a large part of what you call love is nothing but fear of solitude. Second, possessive love does not want the other, it wants to own them. Third, love that demands you make yourself smaller is not love. It is domestication. Fourth, passion is an intoxication, and its end is the moment of truth. Fifth, whoever does not love themselves poisons everything they touch. Sixth, true love is not finding the perfect person, it is a constant creation. Seventh, the highest love is the one between two who do not need each other, but choose each other. Nietzsche did not write about love to destroy your capacity to love. He wrote to free it from the lies that suffocate it. He saw a humanity confusing neediness with passion, possession with devotion, fear with feeling. And he offered a different path: love as the choice of free beings, as the creation of strong spirits, as the meeting of two fullnesses instead of two lacks. Not the love that needs, but the love that chooses. Not the love that imprisons, but the love that frees. The difference between the two is the difference between a chain and a dance. One binds you against your will, the other you step into freely, every single day. If any of these truths touched you in a sensitive spot, good. Discomfort is the first sign that something inside you is awakening. Write in the comments, which of these 7 truths about love was the hardest to face? Not the most beautiful one, but the one that stirred your real way of loving. I will be reading every single one. If this video made you see love in a new way, drop your like. That tells the algorithm there are still people willing to face the truth instead of fleeing into fantasy. Subscribe to this channel. It is not for those who need comforting illusions. It is for those who are ready to love with their eyes open. Next week, we will return together to the abyss to dissect another hidden mechanism of the human soul. Until then, remember one thing. You can only truly love another person after you have learned not to need them in order to exist. Go, become whole, and discover at last what it means to love from freedom and not from fear. Because the love that is born of strength is the rarest and most beautiful thing 2 human beings can build.
And you will only come to know it the day you stop searching for someone to complete you and start searching for someone to share your own wholeness with.